Okay. I have something that I'm going to use with you. It's called a hunger fullness scale.
Okay.
And it's pretty, just the way it sounds. One is starving, primal hunger. You have the feeling in your stomach. You might be a little bit dizzy. You might be a little lightheaded. Have you ever felt that way before? Okay. And then 10, of course, Thanksgiving. We've all been there. Very uncomfortable, need to lay down, way overly full.
Okay.
And then you can see the increments there in the middle.
Right.
So what I want to find out is at 4 o'clock here when after you've had the salad at lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the snack if you brought in one. At 4 o'clock when you have that snack, where would you say you are on the hunger scale here?
4.
You're a 4, so you're mildly hungry, ready for a snack. Okay. And then typically at dinner at about 7,
Mm-hmm.
where would you say your hunger is?
It kind of depends on if I've packed that snack.
Okay.
If I have not packed that snack, I would also say I'd probably be at a 3. Having packed that snack, probably a 4.
Okay. So if you don't pack the snack, you've got
I'm-
strong hunger pains and you're ready for a meal.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Well, have you heard of MyPlate?
No.
Okay. What I'm going to do is, based on your sample meals that I see here, I'm going to compare it to the MyPlate Standards, which is a government website that you can log on to, and it actually helps you track what you're eating, see how you are, your grains, your fruit, your vegetables, your fats are all kind of comparing and meeting up to guidelines that the government thinks a man of your size and stature should have.
Okay.
So I've actually put in your information already for you.
Wonderful.
And this is based on you maybe losing some weight, because you mentioned, correct, that you'd like to
Definitely.
lose a
Slim
couple
down.
pounds. Okay. So based on this here, I'm seeing that you are having maybe 1 or 2. See, you have 1 starch at breakfast, which is the oatmeal, and then you might be having a starch at lunch. So if we compare it to the MyPlate here, this recommends that you have 6 per day, and you're maybe getting 2.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, vegetables, you're doing pretty well. Your salad there is probably about 2.5 cups. Fruits, you're doing great with the fruits. And then if we go over to dairy, you do have the dairy at breakfast, but you still need about 2 more cups.
Okay.
Proteins, you're pretty good. And fats and oils, you do have some fat with the seeds and the nuts. And the spread is kind of insignificant. It doesn't really add very many fat grams to your daily total. So in a nutshell, what I'm kind of seeing here is that you you're eating kind of sporadically. Your meals are really spaced out.
Mm-hmm.
And you could maybe benefit from having something a little bit more substantial in the morning.
Okay.
That might make you feel a little bit more satisfied. You might have a little bit more energy. And you might not, around the 4 o'clock time, 6 o'clock time when you're getting really hungry at dinner,
Mm-hmm.
that might make you kind of be more towards like a neutral stage. So you're not so ravenous and so hungry that you're stopping, like you said, if you've got, don't have the time to stop at fast food or a restaurant, burrito. Okay. So based on this here, is this something that, what do you think about these?
I think it's
about
manageable.
these?
I'm close on a few, but it's definitely something I'll have to be more conscious of.
Okay. So sounds like you think that this is something that you could maybe strive towards? This
Definitely.
is something
it's
doable?
attainable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Your motivation, where would you say your motivation is to kind of
On a scale or
a scale 1 to 10?
motivated, like a 7 or 8.
7 or 8. Okay, great. Sounds like you're ready to make that step.
Yes.
Into kind of becoming healthier.
Yes.
Does that sound right? Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you, do you have any specific goals that you would like to make as far as your diet or your exercise level?
I have less burritos.
Less burritos. Okay. Okay, less burritos. What do you think about maybe packing in something more like on your way to work with that latte? Maybe adding in.
I'm not terribly hungry right when I wake up. It takes me a while to get hungry.
Okay. Well, I think okay, so you don't wanna add anything into breakfast. What about maybe?
It's just not appealing.
Okay, you're not quite hungry yet.
Exactly.
Is that what I understand? Okay. Well, what do you think about maybe at the 9 o'clock hour when you're having your oatmeal? You mentioned you were kind of hungry at that point, correct? Mm-hmm. What do you think about making adding something to the oatmeal packet, maybe to make it a little bit more substantial? Maybe do you like eggs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you think about maybe adding an egg to the oatmeal, or even making like a mini breakfast burrito at home and taking it with you? We mentioned you really love burritos.
I do love burritos.
Okay, is that something that you maybe
Yeah, I can switch
do?
from oatmeal to something more substantial, or is it supplemental?
You could add it in addition to the oatmeal. You could, whatever really you think. Is that something you could do?
Definitely.
Okay. And then another thing that I notice is that you're eating out a lot. And I think a lot of the times with restaurant meals, they're what's called not nutrient dense, energy dense, and they're kind of lacking in nutrients. Mm-hmm. So what that means is they're really high in calories, and you're not necessarily satisfied from them. So what I would really like to see, if you think this is a maybe manageable goal, is for you to prepare more foods at home and maybe take them with you to work for lunch.
Yeah, that's definitely a goal.
Is that something that you could do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well then why don't we write down some of these goals and we'll create them together.
Okay.
So why don't you right here. So your first goal is you mentioned less burritos.
Less burritos, goal number 1.
So let's make that a little bit more fine-tuned. How often are you having burritos now, would you say?
Once a week.
Once a week, okay. Well, instead of saying less burritos, are you okay with maybe modifying the burritos?
No. I like certain type of burritos,
okay.
And if I'm gonna have a burrito, that's the burrito I'd like to have.
So it sounds like you're not really ready to give up the burritos. Is that?
It's an all or nothing type of thing. If I'm gonna have burritos, I'm gonna have the burrito I want.
Okay.
But if they're not an option, then they're not an option.
Okay. So, am I understanding that are you ready to give up? Are you ready to give them up? If you're gonna have them, you're gonna have them the right way. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Are you ready to get? Should we tackle something else? Are you ready to give up the burritos?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So well, then why don't we start with preparing meals at home?
Okay.
Do you think that maybe you could? How many times a week do you think you want to start?
I would like to not spend any money at work when I eat lunch.
Okay.
So 5 days.
So 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you write that down? Okay. And then the second one that we mentioned was maybe making your breakfast a little bit more substantial at 9 o'clock when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Does that one sound like?
Definitely.
Okay. Okay, how do you feel about these goals?
I feel good about them, actually. They're something to keep in my brain and help me.
Okay. Yes, and you can take this with you so you can
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
refer to them. Do you foresee any potential roadblocks that might get in the way of?
The beer, and then I lead to wanting a burrito the next day, or then. But other than that, I'm normally pretty good when I
So
stick
it sounds
to
like
something.
you're still got the burritos on your mind, but you. Okay, why don't we start with these, and then we can
Switch to burritos later.
and then we can progress and see where we feel when we meet next.
Perfect.
Does that sound like something?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Right now, no. Do Do you have any? Well, maybe. Do you have any recommendations for planning out meals? Do you?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. What I would recommend is eating every 2 to 3 hours. You're doing, based on your 24-hour recall here, you are eating every couple of hours, which is great. You're just maybe not eating enough. You're in order to be satisfied, and a man as tall as you are, your body requires a lot of energy. And in order for you to not get to the starving one stage where you just have to have a burrito, that I think is going to require maybe just bulking up your meals, making them a little. Your staples here are great. You have a lot of fruits, you have a lot of vegetables. Your choices are healthy. You just, I think, need to eat a little bit more. And then at every meal and snack, I do recommend a carbohydrate and a protein.
Okay.
For the most part, you've got that down, the protein and the veggies. I would like maybe to see you add a carbohydrate in there, and that actually might make you, studies have shown carbohydrates can help you sleep better.
Okay.
So, kind of rounding out the meals with a carbohydrate and a protein. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And more round. Yeah. More ingredients.
Okay. Any other questions?
That's it for now.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you,
I appreciate
Annalise.
your time.
I appreciate yours.
We'll set up another follow-up appointment if you'd like.
Okay. Definitely.
In about maybe 2 weeks, a month,
Yeah.
whatever you feel is enough time for you to make these, meet these goals. And
Perfect.
I think, okay.
Thank you so
Noah.
much.